Good morning, and welcome to Namaste Today, a sacred way to begin your day. I'm Christopher Witecki, your heartfelt host and spiritual life coach. This audio blogcast is for Tuesday, February 28th, 2017. Happy Love Fest Day. Namaste. Well, my friend and earthly neighbor, today is Love Fest Day, the most powerful day to give and exchange love. But Sensei says, today the most important exchange is with yourself. In today's Zodiac Weather, I'll talk about how you are manifesting peace and opening up to self-love. And later in today's tea time, considering we're manifesting a new spiritual platform, I thought I would do a little sacred teaching on holding sacred space. But first, let's take a look at today's moods and your Zodiac Weather. This Zodiac Weather is for Tuesday, February 28th, 2017. And my prediction for the global consciousness is sunny and loving. Today, Step 10 Pisces rules the day, bringing you to a new level of spirituality, and the moon crosses Venus, opening up for love. Let's take a look at the planets. Before I begin, I just want to say Happy Love Fest Day, my friend. I love you. Take a moment today to tell the people you love that you love them. It's an excellent day for an exchange of love, as the moon is crossing over Venus in Aries. Today you are opening up to love, and as the day progresses, you'll feel yourself being called to open. But first, let's talk about the step of the day before we talk about that opening moment. Today, Step 10 rules the day, and we're in Step 10 of Pisces. So Step 10 is I manifest. This is the degree where we are manifesting. Because it's Pisces, we are manifesting the base layer of our faith. But with the solar eclipse we had over this last weekend, I believe this is a new higher layer. This is a higher spiritual platform than you've ever been. And you may say, well, every year I feel a little lighter, a little higher. Well, I argue this is actually one of the highest steps you have made, and it may not be very clear to see it right now. That's because we're in a bit of a fog. The sun is conjuncting Neptune, which is an annual transit that happens, but it literally means that we kind of go a little out of this world. Dream life gets turned up, people are staring out the windows, and in some cases, accidents do happen. So please, let's be careful out there. But in a bigger picture, the sun crossing Neptune over the next couple of days means we're going through a spiritual vortex, a transformation, an ascension, if you will, out of the spiritual karma you were born to and onto a new spiritual path. Now, this brings us to the moon in Aries. The moon is in Aries today, and so with the moon climbing these degrees in Aries, as you go through this vortex and go through a shift, inside you may be fighting for strength. You may feel weak and not strong enough. This is kind of typical with the moon in Aries, but with the other planets that are there, which is Uranus and also Mars, these planets actually make it a bit harder. It makes the stakes higher. It makes things more intense for us. So you might be feeling on this Love Fest Day at first a little anxiety and apprehension. This is where Love Fest comes in. Because the moon is crossing Venus in Aries, it is time to love yourself. It is time to go ahead and open up to why you are lovable. And you can just pick out one simple thing that you love about yourself and focus on that. Accept and receive the fact that you are a good girl or you are a good boy and you are proud of yourself. Take that moment. I promise you it'll charge your batteries this particular season because of all the activity going on in the powerful Aries vibration. Literally, we are birthing a new self. And I'll be talking about in today's tea time how to hold sacred space. Now, examining the planets and looking at Mercury, the new self that's birthing inside today may very well be experienced as seeing yourself in a new way. That actually is the spiritual ascension. Perception is reality. The perspective you have been taking has always been what? The underdog, the challenge, the not strong enough, the something not good enough, right? And really what's changing here is the way you approach yourself, your own perspective of how you see yourself, your own perspective of your potential and your character. Now, literally, this is fighting out. We have an opposition at exactly step 22 today. Uranus is at 22 degrees Aries, and Jupiter is at 22 degrees Libra retrograde. This is literally inside of us a tug-of-war. But I would liken this tug-of-war more to a chick hatching out of an egg. It's a struggle to burst out of what you have known. On the one hand, with Jupiter in Libra, you have known lifetimes, or you have known times in this life where you did not get what was fair. Not what was fair in a relationship or fair in a job, fair as far as what you contributed and what you got back. And in many cases, you haven't been fair to yourself either. So this Jupiter pushes, it's time to stand up for what is fair for you and make things balanced and safe, and in some cases opening up artistry as well. And with Jupiter retrograde, it means it's not just time to stand up for it, it's time for it to come in. You're going to start to see results here any second now. On the other side of this consciousness is Uranus and Aries, which basically is saying to you, okay, to make it fair, you need to stand up. You need to rise up. You need to be stronger. And not stronger in the world, but stronger for yourself. More supportive of yourself. And part of that being supportive of yourself is not blaming yourself, not going back to the old, not being guilty, not falling into that. So it's a real dynamic day. Truly, we are little chicks that are hatching out of our Easter eggs. And today with step 10 ruling the day, you are basically holding space for this whole process to happen. So that brings us very eloquently to our tea time topic. Go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our daily tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is holding sacred space. Now, this is a topic I brought up before, but I find that rinse and repeat, it makes you sweet. Okay, like the more we practice, the more closer we are to master. So I want to go over the qualities of holding sacred space. And this is really a step 10 philosophy. Step 10 is I manifest. And I had learned on my own kind of 2 feet what manifestation was about. I learned along my path that to manifest, you have to love something a lot and you have to hold it sacred. And when I saw step 10, I was one of those moments, jaw-dropping moments of realization, like, oh my God, there it is in the step astrology. What we love, the 1, and holding space, the 0. Now, it's the holding space part that people have a hard time with in step 10, how to hold that sacred space. And a lot of that is simply because a lot of people do not honor step 0, I protect, and so they don't hold their life in sacred space, they don't hold their spirituality in sacred space, they don't hold anything in sacred space as a rule. So when it comes to holding space for something big, like manifesting a dream or the greatest love of your life, really holding space is difficult. So let's talk about holding space. Now, why is it necessary? It's necessary because in this slow down 3D reality, it takes time and space to manifest something. It takes time and space to grow a plant. It takes time and space to grow a human. It takes time and space to make things. All right, this is just the nature of our reality. So you have to put into the equation whenever you're manifesting anything that one of the steps, and actually it's step 10, you hold time and space. You literally have to wait until the little chickie hatches out of the egg. And that's another little metaphor I like to use, is waiting for an egg to hatch. Everything in nature calls for this, and this is the step that people often goof up. One thing is they can't hold the space. 2 things is they don't really know how to be patient and can't chill out their ego in that space. So basically, to hold time and space, what you really do is kind of create a spiritual womb for something new to happen. And the attitude here is that you're going to hope for the best and protect all the rest. Hope for the best and protect the rest. This is the expectant mother energy, where you're going to just hold the entire process as sacred as possible. And you want to create sacred space. And that's what I want to talk about. I believe everyone needs to hold a little sacred space every day. You could call this worship, but really it's a lot more metaphysical than that. I think that when you take your conscious energy and you spend time and energy and space to hold sacred space. In other words, to hold an energy field that is absolutely sacred to you. Whether that sacredness would have one day come from a church once upon a time, but that sacredness may come from being a mother with her child. Like, what is sacred to you? And I've noticed that we have to hold sacred space to be able to hold a constant connection to spirit. If I haven't held sacred space in a day, I have a hard time reading my clients. I literally have to hold a little sacred space to open up the vortex. Now, this can be this can be a ritual, which is the best thing. It can be at a certain time of day. Your sacred space can be tied to an altar, which is what we've done for centuries, as our sacred space was an altar. But, only different, places in the world have altars these days. But holding an altar is also a sacred space, but taking time in front of that altar is also very powerful. And today, since Step 10 rules the day, today is the perfect day, especially with the moon crossing Venus, the perfect day to hold some sacred space, and some sacred space for what it is you want to manifest. Now, I believe truly that we create our own reality. Our perception turns into our reality. What we be is what will come. And as a result, if you take sacred space in your given day or in your given life, you always hold space or sacred space in everywhere else in all of your other realities. So by taking sacred space in the given day for yourself, you will create sacred space availability at work, sacred space availability after a tragedy. And you'll just find that no matter where you are, anywhere in life, you suddenly now have space available for you to go back to that sacred space if you need to. So it's really magical this way. Step 0 creates a portal everywhere. And I also find that one has to create the sacred space every day, because it seems that when I wake up, I've noticed that I have to reset all the settings in my video game. I have to reset everything and replant fresh intention. This is one of the reasons why many religions, pray at sunrise, because they're basically logging in for the day, creating their sacred space, and holding the vortex. So let's walk you through real quick how to open up sacred space, or at least I'm going to share with you what I do to hold my sacred space. And on a Step 10 day, it'd be great for you to be mindful of something you want to manifest. It doesn't have to be tied to the Pisces issues. It can be absolutely anything. Go through these steps with me and hold some sacred space. Now, the first thing I do is locate the space. I have a sacred space wherever I am. Even if I'm in a hotel, I create like a little corner that's the sacred corner. And I say kind of to myself, this is my sacred space. I hereby protect this space. And in this space, only God and I can be in this space. Everything must be outside this space, and so it is. And this is a time where I don't want any negativity, any dark forces, any entities. Pretty much when you say only me and God, the universe gets it from what I can find. Like you have to say, and no boogeyman. You say me, God, and that's it. The universe understands, and that's the way it is. This is kind of like, rituals and things, and I understand why churches evolved and why witches have ceremonies. It's like you actually consciously have to go through some steps to build or open things, especially a vortex. Once you have declared it sacred by your own heart, this to me opens up the psychic vortex. I literally feel the other side kind of open up once we have established our connection and our safety. The next thing you do is you connect to your heart, Step 1. So Step 0 to Step 1, you connect to your heart. And the way to connect to your heart is just to, if you can go there on cue, I can in my sacred space. When I'm in sacred space, I can go right to my heart and it'll just open up. I can feel it right away. I can't go to my sacred space. I can't go to my heart, if I haven't had my sacred space time, actually. It's very hard. My heart is actually very vulnerable unless things are super safe. So open up your heart, think about something you love, fill your heart with love. Then the next step is upgrade that love to gratitude. Okay, so it's like, I'm so grateful for this thing I love. I love this thing and I'm so grateful for it. Gratitude is the attitude of receiving. That's the vibration you want to kind of get your consciousness pregnant with, if you will. And gratitude is where you want to kind of hold. And what you do is you end up creating like this sort of conscious love bubble with your gratitude and your love. Now with that love bubble, you visualize and you emotionalize what you're grateful for in the future. So if you're trying to manifest a new car, you basically visualize that car, and you emotionalize it, which is like, hallelujah, thank you, God, I'm grateful. You know what I mean? Like, emotionalize is you go ahead and get passionate and grateful about it. The more passionate you get, the faster it comes, I swear to Goddess. And the more my heart actually tingles, the faster I see things come. And basically, you fill this with love, and then you protect it. And what's your job then? Your job then is to sit on that egg until it hatches. You love and you trust that it's going to hatch. And you don't second guess it, and you don't try to peek and see if it's ready yet, and you don't modify the order. You hold space. You give God Universe their chance to move in the intergalactic co-creation chess game. It's their move. And today, that's what you want to do. You want to create this bubble, and if nothing else, you want to create it for the Pisces issues, which is sacred space for your own peace. Sacred space for life without fear. Sacred space for life without disaster. Life without worry. Life without guilt. Okay? Life without despair. Life without pain. This is the sacred foundation we want at minimum today because we are ready to ascend. And in the very end of this, before you fall asleep or you let it go for the day, you just are grateful for knowing, truly knowing, that you are going to receive this, and everything is okay until then. All right, my friend, I wish you the best of luck in launching your little Love Fest bubbles today. A new spiritual foundation, a new way of living, our first step towards our personal soul nirvana. And I want to remind you, if you're feeling lonely, come down to our club on Facebook. It's namastetoday.club. You'll find lots of members all helping each other, sharing information, sharing their gifts. All are welcome. We'd love to see you there. I hope you have a fantastic day. Remember that I love you and live, love, be.